You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, mi gente? You know what it is? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. That's right. Today we're talking some comic goodness with an amazing independent comic book writer, creator. He's had 3 projects I know on Kickstarter. One of them is live right now under his belt. He is the future champ of indie comics, the one, the only, the boss man himself, Mr. Matt Blair. Wepa, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you. It's great to be here. A hell of an introduction. Thank you so much.
I must pump you up, my friend, because you got a kick-ass project with a few days to go. So you got to get you excited, get people excited, because we got to make it rain on this baby.
Absolutely.
We're gonna learn all about this project real soon, folks, because you know what it is. This is a Comic Crusaders podcast, and we love ourselves, our little origin stories. So, Matt, tell us where you from originally, where you grew up at, and what was your first taste of fandom?
All right. Well, it's a very interesting question because whenever people ask me, where are you from? It's like, I was born in North Carolina, but we moved when I was like 6 months old. So my birth certificate says North Carolina, but I really grew up in Massachusetts. But I after I graduated college, things, weren't going so well. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to move. And I moved to the West Coast to Oregon because I decided I wanted to write comic books for the rest of my life. And I was like, well, where's the best place to do that? And, New York was too expensive, with all due respect. Los Angeles was too hot. And I was like, well, Dark Horse and Image are up in Portland. Might as well move there. So that's sort of the basic rundown of, how I came to be where I am. In terms of fandom, I'm this is kind of sad because I was actually kind of late to the party. I did not grow up a comic book fan. What I did is I grew up a fan of ancient history and like Greek mythology. So kind of the same thing. As I got older, I realized, hey, wait a minute, like, you've got all these superheroes and you've got all these stories, and they're actually a lot very similar to, like, Hercules and, like, the Trojan War and all that. And so I was like, that works. So, it was an easy transition. So, like, I came to comics by way of Greek mythology. So okay. That's what that was my passion. And I like to think that's also kind of translated into this project right here. So, like, this is very much something that's been on my mind for years. It's something I really enjoy talking about. It's something I enjoy learning about, and it's something I enjoy sharing as well.
So we're gonna get into it. Don't you worry, but we still got a bit to go here before we get there. Because as you were growing up, where you grew up, were you the lone wolf of your geekdom, if you will? Or
I didn't. I had friends, but I didn't have, a whole lot of friends. And, like, I did have a very sort of, like, private life, growing up. And, like, I did have more I enjoyed books more than hanging out with people. So I was kind of the lone wolf, and I enjoyed Well, people were talking about, like, Sesame Street, and I was learning about, like, Achilles, fighting Hector and all that stuff, and, like, it was great. I can't really say if my childhood was special or not because it was mine, and because everyone has their own journey. But yeah, I'd say I was pretty lone wolfy, as it were. But no complaints. Right. No complaints.
Okay, so. What age did you move out on your own to get away from Mass?
I graduated. So I graduated college in 2012, and things, I was a sophomore when 2008 happened, and like for some bizarre reason, no one could find a job, and I was unfortunately in the same boat. So I spent like a good 4 or 5 years trying to figure things out, and somewhere during that time, I thought, you know what, I can write comic books. I can do that for a living. It doesn't seem that hard. Spoiler alert: it is incredibly difficult. So I spent, a couple years puttering around, trying to figure stuff out, and then like it just like built and built and built until it got until it just got so bad. I was just like, screw it, I'm moving. So, yeah.
And that
Not
okay.
not the most
So
exciting thing, but it's what happened.
so the creators happened while you were living in Mass, though, correct? You're spark to want to create, do something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's this very, I'm not going to say it's universal, but there was very much the sense of like, I'm stuck here working like 3 or 4 dead end jobs. I'm going nowhere. It was it was sort of an attempt to get to give my existence purpose, as it were. I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but like it really helped me, like when I wasn't in a very good space, like mentally or even physically. But it was like, but I remember distinctly. I remember thinking to myself, like, no matter how bad it gets, I always have this. I always have my mind. I always have my stories, and so no matter what happens, at least there's that. So that got really deep, really fast.
It's a deep man. That's what writers are. Writers are deep people, right?
We try.
So
I mean, we have
talk
a lot of time
about
to think about things, and like it's our job to like process what's going on around us, what's going on in our work as well. So yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of time, and we dedicate a lot of mental energy to thinking about this sort of thing. So
they all like that guy, like the statue. All right, so talk about that, because you said navigating comics is hard, not something you were aware of. So what was the difficult part of you trying to and do a comic?
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, so when you're putting started putting a comic, right? It's a difficult learning curve. So what about the learning process was so difficult?
Well, I mean, most of it is to be brutally honest, most of it's the money part of it. I mean, making a script and finding an artist, like that's the good part. That's the fun part of making comics. But like, it's the business side of it. It's making sure everyone's paid on time. Which, incidentally, like the best piece of advice I can give to aspiring creators: pay your artists. I can't believe I have to say that, but like you'd be surprised at how many people are like, well, I have this idea. It hasn't made any money yet, but once it starts making money, I'll pay you. It's like, no, don't do that. And like just making sure everything's like where it's supposed to be, that like you're on social media and constantly promoting it. I mean, I do love we cut out. I do love like interviews like this. This is like the best part of it. And I like talking about that, but like processing the business side of it, that's always hard. And we have some dead space. So, hey, he's back.
Continue.
You're still cutting out. You want to send me like the questions on chat, or?
So you don't hear me now?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay. It happens.
But what it
Yeah.
is. It's what happens when you're live, folks. Fun stuff. Matt was all lonely all of a sudden.
I was like,
All right.
what? I have to keep people entertained on my own. What? Oh no. But yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so keep on the journey story there of the learning process and paying artists and all that.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, when I decided I wanted to write comic books, I had, you know, I came into it with no idea what I wanted to do or how, like what to do. So it was all very much, you know, fly by wire. It was very like, you know, try something and see what works. The good news is that it has never been easier in this day and age to create a comic book. The bad news is that it has never been easier to create a comic book. So like, yeah, there are a whole bunch of like websites out there where there are some really, really, really good artists, you know, who like have like accounts, and like you can find them. You can look on, you can take a look at their artwork, and you can connect with them and like, you know, hey, I have a comic, you know, I have this idea for a book, would you be interested? And the great thing about it is that if they say no, there's 5 others who are willing to take their place. So it's very much like the tools are all there. It's just figuring out how to make them work for you. Like,
what was your approach like?
Oh, well, my approach
like
was
to these artists, you know.
I mean, yeah, how do I, what was my approach? It was very sort of informal. It was just like, you know, hey, you know, I saw your artwork on this. I like it. Would you be interested in talking more? And so just like, you know, it was less like, you know, I am a writer. And you know, I have an idea, and we shall become business partners. It was like, you know, hey, you know, you know, I'm a guy with some ideas, and I've got some money to spend. You know, let's, you know, put something together and see what happens. So you know, it's very informal. It's very friendly. And like, you also have to have a bit of a thick skin, because there will be people who say no. There will be people who say like, you know, oh, this idea is garbage, I hate it. And it's like, okay, you know, move on.
You've dealt with that too, damn. Just pass on. Don't gotta insult the person either. You know what I mean? Damn.
It happens. Like, yeah. I like, so the 2 artists I'm currently working with, like long term. One of them is by a guy named Frankie B. Washington. He's fantastic. Like, if you ever get a chance,
that's the man.
Yeah, he's great. The second gentleman by the name of Paul Pert Smith. Yeah, like,
we gotta have Paul on over here.
Yeah. He's currently living in Australia, so I mean the time zones might be a little bit different, but like, the point is, like, I've been incredibly lucky to work with these 2 artists for a long time, and they've been fantastic. But before I was able to work with Frankie and Paul, there were about 6 or 7 other artists who either didn't work, who either flat out said no, or like we started working together, but it just sort of like petered out. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's going to be some times where you fail, but you know, you just got to keep pressing on and keep moving forward.
So how did you feel when you finally did your first, you know, comic project ever, and saw it even in print with your name on it? What was that feeling like?
It is probably the greatest high on the face of the planet. Not that I would know, I'm pretty straight edge when it comes to that sort of thing, but it's like, this is going to sound really a little bit weird, but it's like creating something and putting it out into the universe. It's like, it's its own form of like immortality. And I'm gonna like talk about this from like the lens of like you know, ancient literature, because that's where I come from. But like in all of these epic stories, like the hero is given a choice. You can either have a boring life but a long one, or a short life but an exciting one. And all of these heroes, they always choose the short and exciting life because they want to be remembered, and they want to they want to experience something past past the mundane, past the normal. And the heroes, these heroes, they always their life is always violent because they're always like fighting people. And fast forward a couple thousand years, we've sort of moved past that a little bit. So it's not
There's different
going
weapons.
off. Yeah, it's not going off to fight someone for glory. It's creating something. It's like putting it out there and saying, hey, I made this, and it won't last for ages, but it'll last a bit longer. And it's just like it's the most amazing feeling. And even if it doesn't sell, it's just like at least I have something. At least I have something that I can show people, and at least I have something that it matters to me, and maybe it matters to like 3 or 4 other people. And if you're really lucky, it'll matter to millions. But that time that takes time.
It will happen. You
Yeah.
know this. You manifest
Yeah.
things, they're happening. Great. So
Yeah.
here you are. So you finally got. So did it get easier on the second project you worked on? After this first one and putting things together, seeing your name, the excitement, and now you're moving on to another project.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I know you work, being able to work with an artist, like you develop your routine, you develop, what you want to say, you develop a schedule. That's really important because if you're an independent creator, like you need to be able to like schedule things on your own and keep to it. Because it just does not stop. You have to, be on it. But like, being able, but yeah, it was definitely a lot easier. Like, because like dealing with Paul, it is different than, working with Frankie. But at the same time, it's like, the more things change, the more things stay the same. So like, being able to like reach out, being able to communicate with an artist, being able to, make changes when necessary, and being able to like develop a plan. Absolutely. It all gets easier. So yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Now we're really gonna start getting into it because I want to show off about the new project, which probably is supposed to be even easier to get to. So we're gonna get into how much you handle this project and what all about, and the team and all that. Good to the Kickstarter. This awesome video on the Kickstarter page. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know my technology doesn't want to communicate with me today. This is
oh well, it happens. Yeah. Well, I mean,
hold on.
Oh, there. All right. So what's probably going to wind up happening is he's probably going to wind up cutting out again. So, in terms of the Kickstarter. It was definitely a lot easier. Like when I was working on this Kickstarter, it was I made the conscious decision to be like, it was less make things easier, but it was more like, I'm going to make this the best book I can possibly make this. Like I wanted to find like the best artist. I wanted to find the best colorist. I wanted to find the best creative team that I could humanly put together. And learning, taking the lessons that we learned from the previous book and applying it to this was definitely there. Hey everyone, I'm back again. And so, I don't know what else to say. Like it was like, reaching out to Paul. I was like, hey, I've got this idea. And Paul, sorry, I'm going to reset here for a second, guys. We're back. All right. So, So when I wanted to create this,
You go live.
yeah. All right. All set? Hello again. All right. So let me tell you the story about how the Kickstarter came to be.
Okay.
So
You hear me now, though?
yes.
All
So
right,
yeah. Okay. So I've actually had this idea for ages. If you're a creative and you work with me, basically what happens is I have a list of like log lines and like story ideas that I share with you, and I'm like, hey, if you take a look at this, and if you have, if there's any idea that you like, let me know and we'll talk about it. So this specific Kickstarter, I've been kicking the idea around for years. As I previously said, I'm a big fan of ancient myth and history. So, especially the Greeks and Romans. So I've had this idea for a while. It's been on my list for ages. And then in 2020, when, everything was happening, I was sitting in my house on my own. And I thought to myself, let's, try to make a comic book happen, because I figured, no one's working, everyone's available. Let's talk. And so I reached out to Paul. I found him on a database for creators. And I just, I saw him and I was like, ooh, I like that art style. And so I actually reached out to Paul and I said, hey, my name's Matthew Blair. I'm a comic book creator. I have this idea. What do you think about it? And Paul actually said, it was a different idea from this. So Paul actually said, sorry, that's not for me. And so I was like, okay, well, here's a list of, here's my logline list. Check it out. Tell me if there's anything you like. And so he reached back to me and said, hey, this particular idea, it speaks to me and I'm very interested. Tell me more. And I was like, okay, here's a script. Here's, here's an idea. Here's the, the characters. Here's everything. And he said, wow, this is fantastic. I want to do this. And so we did. That's basically all that happened. And so, yeah. So we spent about a year working on it, and we put a pitch together, and we actually submitted it around. We didn't get a whole lot of bites, but then we submitted it to Heavy Metal, because Heavy Metal had they were launching an imprint called Virus Comics, which is their creator-owned imprint. And they were like, hey, we like this idea. We want it. And I was like, okay, fantastic.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How did you feel? I mean, Heavy Metal, you're like, huh? What?
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't grow up reading Heavy Metal, but I know of Heavy Metal comics.
Of course.
Because, and I was like, yes, please. Yes, thank you. And so so we have we have the book. The book is happening. It's going to be published. But before we do that, I reached out to them and I said, well, why don't we do a Kickstarter to get some attention on the book and get people talking about it and give people a chance to get a head start on it. And they were like, absolutely, let's do that. So they've been incredibly supportive. They've been incredibly helpful. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is I went from I went from a nobody living in his parents' basement to this, and it's it took a while, but it happened, and it not to sound cheesy inspirational here, but if it can happen to me, it can happen to you as well. But yeah, and then I was talking. Here's another fun fact. I was talking to Paul, and I was like, well, what can we do to make this Kickstarter campaign really special? And he said, well, we could do some variant covers. Let me reach out to some of my friends. And I was like, okay, who did you have in mind? Well, and then Paul got back to me and he said, well, I'm friends with Charlie Adler and Sean Phillips.
What?
And I was like, what the hell?
Must you ask? Just do it.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
How
More,
dare
please.
you ask me?
Yes, and yeah, and so they were like, yeah, we'd love to do variant covers for you guys. And so it was like,
God.
okay,
That's
awesome.
on his way, kiddo. You're like, yes.
It's like,
You find the right people. See, that's what it is. You got to surround yourself with that right energy. Those right people, man. That you could help one another. That collaborative, psychomagnetic, collaboration right there.
Oh,
That's what it's about, kiddo. Talking about that, now that it's up, let me show off the video real quick. Hopefully nothing happens. Check it out. This is on the Kickstarter page, and then we're going to go through the campaign a little bit. Check it out.
I see a vision of the past laid out before me. A child of prophecy, the last hope of a dying people, raised to be the leader that will guide them to a brighter future. The child of imperial light, raised to believe in the destiny of the great city, fighting for the virtue and honor that is his birthright.
I know, so good.
I see the serpent god and she-wolf, separated by time and space, destined to meet in a battle that will decide the fate of Rome itself.
Please. I can't bear to see anymore.
Woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is on that movie level right here, kiddo. What the heck?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, the tools that are there, like the tools that we have. Hey, everyone. My name is Matt Blair. Hey, it's me, dressed in the same creator of the comic Romanus Magicae. Oh, God, I can't see myself.
Hey,
My name is Paul Peter Smith, and I'm the artist and co-creator for Romanus Magicae.
The trailer that you have just watched is for an ongoing comic book series that Paul and I have been working on for the past couple of years.
This book has grown from our love and interest in ancient culture and history, and has resulted in a publishing contract with Heavy Metal's Virus imprint.
Now, getting published is a huge milestone for us, and we're incredibly grateful. But before we embark on that journey, we wanted to give you guys, the fans, an opportunity to sort of get in on the ground floor and check out the book before anyone else has a chance to. So feel free to look around, check out our awesome rewards, and donate today because this book is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because look at
Yeah.
us right now, folks. We got to make this happen. All right. We have 27 backers. Thank you, guys. We have 37% of the goal, though, with 5 days to left.
We can do it.
Right?
We
So
can do
you
it. I've
definitely
seen it. I've seen people come from behind at even less. It's
I hear
doable.
you. I know, doing like the Atlanta Braves did the Mets, right?
Well, you know.
There's not news any Met fans there. I'm sorry, Met fans. I'm just joking.
Hey, Massachusetts,
don't even talk about it.
It was a bad year for us, so
Hey, man. Who you talking to? I'm from New York, and my Yankees, Damn.
Hey, at least Aaron Judge is
his thing.
He did his thing.
A steroid-free thing.
Yes.
That's the key. All right, but enough about George, because we're talking about the king over here, Matt, and about his dope project. Again, 5 days to go, folks. We got to make this happen. It's only a $2,000 goal. Again, 37% of the goal was $740. You've seen this already. You're part of the Virus imprint. That's Heavy Metal. I mean, look at that. Look at that cover. That's a tattoo, bro. That's a tat, right? When are you getting that tattoo, bro? Do you have it already?
I don't have a whole lot of tattoos, but what we do have, we have patches. So
cool.
like one of the things Charlie Adler's variant cover.
Ooh.
You know, straight out of The Walking Dead.
Well,
Like he was so kind and supportive and attentive, and like he's so fast. It's like I can see why he was able to, you know, do that many issues of The Walking Dead. But also, he also said that he wanted his fee donated to charity. So we're actually giving him a percentage of the campaign. We're actually, you know, when we make it, a portion of the money we have left over is going to go to UNICEF for Ukraine. So, you know, you get a great comic book and you get charity. So, you know,
salute,
all that.
my brother. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Bro. Thank you for even doing that. And my God, look at this.
I know.
Fuck.
I know. Like I loved reading Criminal over the past couple of years, and just like seeing that, it's like,
I mean,
yes,
like, this guy that did Criminal drew my shit. Right? Yo. Love it. I mean, that's a gorgeous cover, bro. That's a poster. That'll make a beautiful print, man.
Posters, prints, covers.
Print there. This is the tattoo, or like you said, a patch. This is so fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Who did that?
That's Paul.
That's Paul. Jeez, Paul. Was he a tattoo artist at any point in his life? Because damn.
I don't think so. But yeah, like, I mean, the greatest joy of this has been just like seeing the artwork happen. It's like I've spent the last 2 years seeing the most amazing artwork come in, and like so the pencils are done by Paul. The colors are done by a lady named Ava de la Cruz. If you Google her, she's done work for everyone, and you can see why.
Hell
because
I wanted to point that out in the trailer, that scene with the fire and the cross.
Yes.
My God, so vivid, beautifully drawn, but beautifully colored.
Yeah,
everything
like
was popping in the right places.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it, like some sort of Photoshop voodoo, but like the way she does like light.
The priestess of Adobe.
yeah, like it's like I'm jealous of her skills. We also like the comic is also lettered by a guy named Micah Myers as well.
Ooh, I've heard that name before. Yep.
Yeah, so you know. This is just like, you know, like how can we get the best creative team possible together on one project? And like I did, you know, this is like, you know, this is the best idea, one of the best ideas I've had, drawn by some of the best artists I've ever seen, and put together all for you guys. So it's like, I'm giddy with excitement here. So it's like,
look at this page. My gosh.
Yeah.
Look how it's set up. Look at oh my God, this is fire. Love that.
Yeah.
This portion right here, and then how it just leads you into everything else. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So dude. Yeah, like the whole book, like the framing device of the book, the girl with the glowing eyes. Her name is Lycia. She's a very important character in the story. Like the whole premise is that like she's an oracle. She's a former priestess who receives visions from on high, and she's like constantly bombarded with all these terrible things. And that was her voice you heard in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Like it's her narrating. I think I can't remember the voice actress's name. I'm so sorry. I actually
sounded so great.
yeah. She was on Fiverr. Like, you know, that's how I found her. Fiverr is fantastic. It works. Like if you need a voice actor, if you need like graphic design, I cannot recommend it enough. I have her name at the top of the campaign, so if you guys visit it, you can find out who she is. But yeah, these are the unlettered pages. So I unfortunately can't show you Micah's work because it kind of spoils a whole lot of stuff. But yeah. So you have this girl, her name's Lycia, by the way. And she's seeing these visions of these two characters that are going to become that are going to become very important. This kid right here, you can see him. He's the little boy. His name's Marcus, and his whole thing, like, he was born in Rome, he was raised in Rome, he was raised to believe in what Rome stands for. And then if you scroll to the that's him on the right.
Right here, right?
Yeah, that's him on the right. The other guy is a guy named Crixus, although he doesn't really have a name. He's sort of the ideological and social opposite of Marcus, whereas Marcus was born into privilege and sort of came and sort of left it. Crixus was born into poverty, but the thing is, his people have a history. That I'm not going to really spoil here because, again, that's for the book. So if you want to find out what happens and what where these two men come from and where they're headed, make sure you get the book. And so, like, it's just setting up that whole idea. Like, you have two sides, both raised to be true believers, coming from different viewpoints. And they're both of their lives are marked by tragedy. So, like, Crixus, he loses everything. Marcus leaves everything he's ever known, and so they go out, and then they're going to come back, and it's just going to be violent. It's going to be violent, and yes, because
bring me the violence.
Exactly, and like. The way Paul draws, like, violence, and like this is not a kid's comic. This there's quite a bit of gore here. So
like Conan on crack.
I wouldn't say Conan because but it's very sort of But it definitely does have that, those ties to history as well. Because like Conan the Barbarian, like, don't ask me how I know this, but like the guy, like Ronnie Howard, I believe that's Conan's Howard, creator. Yeah. His whole thing is that he loved ancient history, but he was tired of explaining it all to his friends. So he created a separate world where he didn't have to explain it, so he could channel like his interests and his passions into that. And that's what the Hyborian Age was. That's what Conan the Barbarian was. We've sort of taken that idea, but we're actually rooting it in like actual history. Like the characters did not exist, but the setting that they live in, and like the world that they live in, that was real. And like one of the things that that bothers me about like the way we as a culture sort of view fantasy, this is going to get really deep, is that like we have like our own set views on what fantasy is supposed to be and like where it's supposed to be. Because, like, how many fantasy books have you read where it's, knights in armor and dragons and princesses and all that? Let's do something different. Let's, let's shift the setting around. Like, that's starting to happen.
It's fantasy.
Yeah.
It says it in the name. It's,
yeah. And like, we don't always have to have medieval Europe. Let's have ancient Europe. Let's have ancient Rome, because like ancient Rome, and like the second thing I've always hated is that like you see all these movies set in ancient Rome, and like it's always like white dudes with British accents dressed in togas talking in like grand speeches, and like they're always in a city that's like clean and polished and marble, but that's not what Rome was. Like yes, there were these, wealthy, people who dressed in their togas and, waxed poetic about the Republic. But, if you go a little bit deeper, you have, these people you know, Rome was, you know, this melting pot of like all these different people, all these, you know, all these different cultures.
It was the 1980s Times Square. That's what it was.
Oh, absolutely.
In the past, right?
And like they all had their own religions, they all had their own magic, they all had their own superstitions, and it all came together in this yeah, it all came together in this one place that was supposedly the jewel of the ancient world. And like, you know, we have this idea that Rome was like this, you know, Rome was a good thing, that, you know, always governed justly and always did the right thing. No, they did not. That, like, you know, they did terrible things. But like, you know, it's in that, you know, it's in that ambiguity that we, you know, that we live. And like, you know, they were just like us. The only difference is, you know, they didn't have, you know, laptops and, you know, streaming services and all that stuff. But like, you know, they.
I know.
I'm just going on and on.
Their concept of cinema was definitely not the cinema, right?
Well, yeah.
Boxing matches were only one person actually came out that mofo.
Yeah. Well, or like, you know, they had their, you know, entertainment. They had, you know, their ideas. You know, they lived, they laughed, they loved, they cried. You know, they raged against, the changes, societal changes. It's like, and like, you know, that's what we want to do with this book. Like, we want to present a vision of Rome that's a little more down to earth, but at the same time, we want to present a vision of Rome that is fantastic and magic and, you know, violent and dirty and grimy, but beautiful at the same time. And
man. I grew up in New York. That was my Times Square. Dirty, grimy, and all, but it was a beautiful place. Like, the multi-parts where the video games were. That's what the ninja shops were, where you could walk out with nunchucks and ninja stars to throw around in the hood. You know,
and porn and porn stores,
and porn all over the place.
Porn.
You have no idea.
a little bit after my time. I was born in '89. Like I'm a '90s baby.
Yeah, definitely you missed it. You missed the craziness for sure. But it was fun, you know.
Yeah, and instead we get the sanitized version of the '80s. We get the Stranger Things. No, that's not what the '80s were like. Even I know that.
Yes. Truth. All right, so let's get down to the pledges before you go, folks. Look how simple this is. $10 just because you love the energy, because you love history, just because you love everything you heard. You got $10 to spare, just throw it in there, show some love. But
or even $5 if you want a digital copy. $5 digital, $10 physical.
That is throw a $2 tip in there for the history lesson he just gave us.
Yeah.
All right, about the Romans. Now check this out right here. Boom, PDF starting at $5, son. Simple, easy peasy. Yeah. Look at that. All right. Then we go to 10. We're getting a physical copy with the standard cover.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's
all right.
Yeah, that's the one you saw on the top. That's the one, the black and white one with the skull and helmet and sword.
So that's this one.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, folks. So that's this edition right here. All right. So now that's this one, I was supposed, correct?
Yep, that's the Adler variant.
There you go. 15 for that. Look at that, folks. Nice. And then look. There's something else. You could choose a patch, a sticker pack, or a digital wallpaper. Oh, snap. Check that out.
Yep.
Hey. All right. And then for 25, you got this gorgeous baby right there.
Well, actually, no, the 15 is still the standard. Sorry, the 15 is still the standard cover. The 25, you get to choose between Adler and Phillips.
Phillips, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. All right. Look at this, folks. That there is dope. Then for esteemed collectors, we get 3 physical copies, so 1 of each. Mm-hmm. All right. You don't have to choose, but you get the patch stickers and digital wallpaper and the print. That's only $50. Tell me where you're gonna get that. Not even in cons you get a sweet deal like that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Not with all that stuff. And what size is the print?
It's standard comic cover size.
Nice.
It's just it's a packaging thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll take a bag, a board, I'll put the comic in, and in the back I'll put like the stickers and patch and the print.
Nice.
So it's secure. We also use Gemini mailers to mail things out. So no manila envelopes, we're
Why
big
not
on.
manila envelope? No,
Well, I mean, I spent some time working in an Amazon warehouse. Like, I know what happens to your packages when they get moved.
He's
So
behind the scenes. He knows what's popping.
yeah, yeah. You want to protect your stuff.
All right, you heard,
So.
folks. Get them Geminis. Don't be effing around. Now look at this. For $100, you getting mad stuff right here, yo. Look at this. For $100, you getting choose one of the standard, the or the variants there, right? Then you get the patch stickers, digital wallpaper. You get the print. Now this is fire. You get a custom. You heard? Custom illustration from Paul. You already seen that crazy dope art. Who wouldn't want to have that?
That is, yeah. That is that's luxury. Like, these days, like, it's not like, what do people want when they want to show off to their friends? They want something custom. They want something one of a kind. They want something that only they own. So, custom artwork.
Yep. And it's not an NFT, folks. It's an actual physical product. All right.
Yeah, don't get me started on NFTs. Like, I mean,
that's
like,
another show, right?
I get the idea behind them. Like, I can, understand, like, if that's your thing, go right ahead. But personally, it's like, no. And like, you like physical art. I'm not going to say it's dying, but it is changing. Like, it's getting to a point where physical art is actually becoming a lot rarer these days, because like, you can go to a convention and like, you can like pick up like, a page from like a Fantastic Four that Jack Kirby did. But like, but now, since everyone has like, their tablets and like, everyone's working on computers, it's like, like, art, like physical artwork is becoming a rarity nowadays. Like, if I could talk about the previous book I did with Frankie, like, Frankie is a bit of an outlier because like he still does his work physically as well. And so like, the last Kickstarter we did, we were able to auction off original pages from the comic, which was fantastic. Nice. Like, he sent them to me so I could ship them out, and like, I got to hold it. I got to see it, and it's like,
how'd you feel holding that? Like, yo, you were seeing the raw babies right before anything. Nice.
Yeah.
Must have been
so
exciting.
It's a wonderful feeling. And it's like, you get to say, like, you own this, this is mine. And like, you can put it on your wall, and when people come, they can be like, ooh, that looks good. Because that's what art is.
Yeah, you're right, brother. I definitely want a Kirby page if I could find one of something that but it has to be, everything is a standout, but I have to have the one that calls to me,
Yeah.
It has to mean something to me, not just
exactly
Kirby. It has to be special. And that's what you get when you get something custom from Paul. Something special and unique. That's an actual physical product. Let me not say that word again, because I'm gonna get mad another rant over here. Like,
yeah.
You know what NFT means? No, fuck that.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna use that from here on out.
NFT means no, fuck that. Right?
Yeah.
There you go. $1.50 again. Choose one standard. The ad art Phillips, pat sticker, wall print, and one custom illustration. Upper body, limited background. Look at that. Okay,
so yeah,
now we're getting a certain look now.
Yeah. So the I wasn't going to show it because I was going to reveal it. We actually have another artist on board. Their name is Ezra Thornhill. I was able to talk to them. They're a very good friend of mine. And they like. I haven't shown it quite yet, but like, if you saw their artwork, you would be absolutely blown away. They're going to make an appearance in the future, but like, just
stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned because it's so amazing.
Oh, what's this? You got something crazy here too. What? 700, a console with Charlie. What?
Well, look at the rewards.
Charlie. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oof. Man.
Yeah.
An original art piece, dude.
Specifically, you get the cover. You get that.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
The OG. Oh
Yeah.
my God. You hear
And
that, folks?
like,
Why pay $20? I mean, $700 for one of those no fuck that's when you have something by Charlie Physical.
yep. And like I actually like I actually sort of when I was creating the reward list, I was like I was like kind of nervous. It's like just $700, like like $700. That feels like a lot. But then I went online and I looked at the websites that actually do sell original artwork,
Yeah.
and like I saw like the original copy of I don't remember what issue of The Walking Dead it was, but it was the one with Negan's head.
Okay.
Negan's head, and it was like 10 grand.
Damn. Oh,
Or something like that. Or
folks,
yeah,
he's just
yeah.
trying to tell you this is the bargain. This is Charlie,
absolutely.
a 700 OG page. One, you see it, folks, right there. One of one.
Yep.
Total exclusivity here, folks. If you're all about the exclusivity, there it goes. Holy shit.
And the same thing for
Oh, look at this one.
Mr.
Oh,
Phillips.
and that one is already gone, boy. Somebody said, "Yep, I want that yoink." They said.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Ezra.
Yeah.
That's Ezra. This is Ezra.
Yeah.
Ezra got
Yeah.
the yoink.
Yeah.
Real quick, mother. Damn, son. Yeah, and so on. So either Oreo, $700. One of one, folks.
And the same thing for the Sean Phillips cover. You could own a Sean Phillips cover for just $700.
Look at this.
Plus, you also get the comic. So
yeah, because tell people, oh, you want to know where that's from? Check this out. I would choose the variant on purpose because hey, that is this, okay? Look at it. Ultimate show off right there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. Look at you see, folks. Great rewards, fair pricing, real exclusive stuff from top tier artists. I mean, you can't go wrong with this campaign. Again, look, $740 right now. He's looking for 2, 5 days to go. Come on, let's increase those backers and let's increase that to be like $1 million tonight. Come on.
Oh, yes, please.
Let us be the Powerball, your Powerball right here. Let's make it $1 billion, right? Let's manifest, baby.
Absolutely.
You have a beautiful project here that seems hella fun. And it definitely is up my alley because I do enjoy the Conan, and there was some stuff that Valiant had done around the Roman era as well.
Barbarian.
Yeah. Was it Barbarian? Yeah. No, was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was. I remember reading it and like I enjoyed it. It was. I'm not gonna say it was weird, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Because like because
like
and
Roman
like
detective, all this stuff going on. It was like, what if Batman was in Rome almost type?
Yeah,
but without
like
the gear.
I thought that was an awesome idea. And like they like and for me, like as someone who knows what's going on, like they got the history mostly right. Like I mean there's always some license they always take, but like Barbarian was fantastic. If you want some reading recommendations, there's Kieran Gillian did a book in like 2012 called 3, because so you have Frank Miller's 300, right? It's about the 300 Spartans, but Gillian did sort of a rebuttal of that called 3, because like I'm gonna very, very, very quickly. Basically, Spartan society, like at the very top, you had the citizens, like that was Leonidas and the Brave 300. But at the very bottom, you had the helots, and the helots were worse than slaves. Like the Spartans viewed them as like the absolute lowest form of life on the planet.
Oh, wow.
But it's about 3 helots who managed to escape Sparta and sort of fight back, as it were. That's a really good book set in ancient Greece. There's also Age of Bronze, which is like a historically accurate version of the Trojan War, which I loved. So there's a lot of good stuff out there that's set in ancient Greece and Rome. A lot of great comics. I mean, Wonder Woman, but like and then there's this, and then there's Romanus Magicae, which it's our offering to the comic book world, and It's so good. It's so good. Like, I mean, even if my script was total garbage, which I don't think it is, but that's not for me to decide. The art, like as you've seen, the artwork is amazing.
Yeah,
So
and I'm sure that the writing is amazing. You know, I can't
I
wait
try.
to. Yeah, you gotta send me a sample, son. Give me a little tease for me to read through, so that get me there, get me into the world of Romanes magic.
I will. I will do that. I
Yeah,
will.
man. I dig this
uh,
stuff too, brother. So I know that your stuff's gonna be fire. Again, folks, look, the link is right there on the screen, but it's also at the bottom, all right, in the show notes. No excuses. Click away. 5 days to go. Show the love for amazing independent creators. It's folks like him. I mean, you already heard it. His journey is just about to kick off, even bigger than ever before for 2023 with the heavy metal, and it's gonna be even more. Then Marvel's gonna come knocking. DC, Image, everybody's gonna want Matt and Paul. It's going to be intense. You know where you're going to get the scoop at? Just follow this amazing team on Twitter, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
for
that's
Matt,
the best place.
for Matt, go to M Blair 112, and for Paul, right? It's Paul Pert Smith. All
Mhm.
right, I'm going to add that to the bottom as well, so you can click away, join, show the love, and support amazing creators and their journeys. And a big shout out to the person who put it together, the Mel. Thank you. You know, check out on High PR for your publicity needs.
Yes. Yes,
Homie
she's
could attest.
fantastic.
There you go. There you go. So thanks for the connecting Matt to me. This is great, Matt. You know, just two more things. One is from me to you, a huge thank you as a fan to a creator. Thank you for being brave and bold enough to do what you do and put your work out there. You know, learn and take those hits and those bumps, but keep on grinding and give us what you've produced today and what you're going to be giving us. So thank you so much. Appreciate you, kiddo. All right.
And
And
thank
then
you for having me. Thank
nah,
you.
man, you've been a pleasure, but I gotta get you more, man. I could see that we could have some fun conversations about NFT, no fuck that's and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to make that happen.
All right, yeah. Then we gotta get Paul on too,
Oh
to talk
yes,
about that.
yes. I mean, like, Paul has been a little bit. Paul doesn't like the spotlight a whole lot, but like, I mean, you heard him on the trailer. Like, he has
Yeah,
the voice for this sort of thing. It's like,
yeah. He's gonna be a voice actor after that. That's what's gonna happen. This is gonna be Matt. You're giving me more work, bro. What's going on?
he's got a great accent, and he's a nice deep accent. It's like, yeah. I mean, people love that stuff.
All right, so there's the last thing. Piece of advice for upcoming creators, stepping into the journey.
I always get asked this, and I always have to think about this. The best piece of advice that I can give, the worst thing you can do is fail. That's it. And it's not like, it's not that bad. Like, and it's not, we live in a time where, like, it feels like you always have to be succeeding, and like, you always have to be like, if you fail once, then it's all over. That's not true. So yeah, failure is really like, it's not that bad. And as long as you are learning, and as long as you are working, and as long as you're grinding and hustling, it doesn't really matter if you succeed or fail, because eventually something will happen. Eventually you'll find that perfect artist. Eventually, like, you'll have that Kickstarter that just takes off. You'll get someone's attention, but you just have to keep going. Which sounds cliche, but I mean, cliches exist for a reason. So
Yes,
yeah, failures, it's not that bad. And so, you can do it. You can do it as long as you just keep pushing.
There you go, folks. You hear that? So keep pushing, never stop. Believe in yourself and in your dream. Because you see Matt, he pushing along and making things happen. So the reason I took myself off the camera, I figured it was, bandwidth heavy. Since we're ending now, it's probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
So again, Matt, I appreciate your time, folks. Again, one more time, the Kickstarter right there. You got to support the project, right? Romanes Magic.
Yes.
Right? It's below.
Yes.
Click away. Show the love. All right. 5 days to go. And again, please follow them, both the guys on Twitter, and Blair 112 and Paul Pert Smith. Again, I'll add that below. thank you again so much for your time. Mi gente, thank you for tuning in and watching. All right, with that, the author tells you what to do. You know what it is. Follow my extended family over at undercovercapes.com. Definitive Crusade, Outside the Panels, K-pop, college moves, and so much more. That's what it is, mi gente. Hasta la próxima. ¡Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store